Hello everyone, it is Kelsey from HIITBURN.com and we have a very special guest with us today. We have Eric Gittenstein from MF Tasty Food Cart here in Portland, Oregon. We're really excited because he is going to cook some amazing dishes for us today. Today's dish is going to be a red cabbage wedge salad. So this is a healthier twist on a traditional wedge, so we're super excited to make it for you today.
So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna chop up some stuff for basically a healthier version of a wedge salad using red cabbage to substitute for the iceberg, and then we got some onions and tomatoes. So still doing the same style presentation that you would do for a normal wedge. So basically all you're doing with this is you're cutting a wedge out, and really the biggest thing you want to get rid of is that little root right here because it is super bitter and gross tasting. Maybe there's some health benefits, I don't know, but that's it. So really you're just wanting something like this so you can see the veins. Just have it on the plate as your base. You know, you can fan it out as well if you want. Either way, basically all I'm doing is splitting it in half, as you can see right here. And then once it's cut in half, we're just gonna slice at an angle to remove that part so you can actually lay it flat. So it's knocked out. And if you want to break this down too into smaller pieces, you can totally do that. So really all you're doing, regular onion. Easiest way to work on it is you want to cut the root and the top off so you can have it flat on your workspace. Then all you're going to do, chop it in half. Top layer is usually the skin, which is going to taste super bitter, and I would not recommend using that. And we're just going to cut into shapes. So all you do, some people get mad, they don't like the noise of this, it can be kind of loud. Also, if you don't know how to do that, you should probably look at what you're cutting. Other way to do this is just a straight slice. It's a little less noise. It'll still give you the same product. And so, either way, we got sliced onions. So we're doing some sliced tomatoes for the wedge. Basically, you can cut them any shape you want. It's really about like what is gonna fit on your fork well, what looks good. So you can go crazy, you know, where you just do, you know, some halved, some sliced, and just, you know, it's just gonna make the dish more colorful and more contrast. It's just gonna look more visually appealing. But really, if you're lazy, just put a chunk on. I don't recommend it, put some effort in, you know, but slice it every way you want. So we are just gonna do a bunch of random shapes and it'll just kind of look funky and fun when we plate it up in the end. Also, a really good hack for trying to do this quickly, if you have any takeout lids, anything like that, just throw a few on. Usually if they're even size, it fits better. But either way, you can do that, and if you have a long knife, you can just slice through. Now you got 10 done instead of 1. All right, so we're slicing up bacon into smaller pieces. If you want to get fancy about it, it's a lardon. Overlying theme is workable sizes that you can work in. So if you don't feel comfortable stacking like an entire sheet of bacon, which you don't need for any of these recipes, just work smaller, stack them up so they're all evenly lined up. We're just gonna slice through. And the biggest thing is don't try and bang everything out. Just be like, oh, I want to see how fast I can do this. Just make sure you do the right cut, push through, make sure that, you know, the protein actually separates into smaller pieces, because otherwise, if you don't, what you do is you have like this weird, you know, kaleidoscope of like 14 chunks of bacon, and it just doesn't look as good. Weird size things don't cook as evenly. Just clear the board as we do it. And you guys may notice that I have a different cutting board than the regular one. Totally not necessary. Just make sure that you keep your cutting board clean if you do that. I just so happen to have an extra one, so we're gonna use this guy. Next thing we're gonna do is render the bacon. So what we have is medium bottomed saute pan. Reason is just you're gonna have a lot of fat that's cooking out. You want it to not scorch. A thicker bottom is gonna redistribute the heat a little bit better, and it will save you from scorching. So this guy's on. We got our chopped bacon. Goes right in the pan. And the big thing with this is you don't want to add any additional fat to it. People can sometimes, you know, if you're in a rush, you know, add some extra oil thinking like, oh, that fat will crisp up. But really the key to like nice crispy bacon chunks is just let its own fat cook out. You're gonna get a lot crispier product in the end, and it's not gonna be overly greasy. You're not gonna be sitting there patting stuff dry. And that's that. Now we're gonna make the dressing for the blue cheese wedge. To kind of keep it on the healthier end, we're gonna substitute Greek yogurt for all the dairy. You get all the fun probiotics of Greek yogurt. Other than that, it's really the same technique. You're just building a base off what now is gonna be your Greek yogurt. So I just got some, you know, plain yogurt. Really, I wouldn't recommend doing any flavored stuff. If that's all you got and you're like, I have to do this, I don't wanna go to the store, fine. But if not, you just want something that's gonna be a little bit more of a vessel for the seasonings and, you know, spices and everything that you add in, as opposed to like, oh, this is amazing that it's laced with, you know, synthetic honey flavor. Maybe it's good, I haven't done it though. So either way, got this in. We can get rid of our stuff right here. To thin it out, we're gonna use a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and that's also gonna give it a little bit of acid to kind of counterbalance that. Greek yogurt can be a little acidic to begin with, so I would go light. You can always add more, you can't take it out. So we'll splash in. That guy's just gonna get mixed around. Still a little thick, but we have a couple other ingredients that we're gonna add, so I'm not gonna go super crazy with it yet, at least. Cap on that, because I am clumsy. And I will probably spill that. 1 lemon. Good way to boost the flavor on a lemon is to add the zest on the outside. How do you do that? You can do a really long, difficult way that we're gonna skip today. It's buy a microplane. Fun fact, these were originally made for sanding and carving furniture. Some chef figured out a great way to use them. Now they're 12 bucks a piece at Williams-Sonoma. We're just getting a little bit of the zest in. As you can see, it's gonna flavor it, but also a little goes a long way, so I wouldn't do like a whole lemon. And then I'll give it a little bit more. So once you got that done, then you can slice it in half, juice it. That juice is gonna be your other acidic component. Break it down to whatever you want. I am just kind of peeling out these seeds, so when I squeeze it into our base, I don't have to go fishing it out afterwards. So some people have juicers, just do that. All right, so we got that in, and case in point, couple of seeds got in. So we're just gonna pick those out. It's a lot easier to use the back of the spoon that you're tasting with than your fingers, and it's a lot more sanitary. Okay, so re-whisk. Really the biggest thing right now that we're going for is consistency and texture of a dressing as opposed to thick yogurt. So swirl it around. You can see it kind of drizzles a little bit, but still has that chunkiness you would expect from blue cheese dressing. From there, it's just really salt, pepper, a little bit of blue cheese. The one that I brought today is from France. It is really, ideally, if you can find it, get cabrales blue cheese. Is my absolute favorite. Is this amazing smoky aged blue cheese that almost has like a creamy texture to it. I think a lot of people get off-put by blue cheese because they tend to get like the institutional pre-bagged crumble stuff, and that is just like really immature, created for a demand for blue cheese as opposed to something that's gonna give you like more depth of flavor. But you know what, if that's all you got, do it. I'm sure it's gonna taste good. So anyways, we're gonna save some of this for garnish, and some I'm just gonna chunk and, you know, throw right in. Biggest thing at first, take your label off it. There is a little bit of skin on this one, so I'm gonna get rid of that as well. Then you just break it up with your hands. You You know, really it's just, you just want chunks. It's gonna get beaten up a lot too when you mix it, so I wouldn't be too worried about like, you know, even or perfection on that. I'm gonna rinse my hands off real quick. Okay, so like I said, we're saving the rest for the other part. We've got a little smoked paprika in here. It's gonna add some depth to it. You can add cayenne as well. Cayenne's like the more classic combo, or cayenne and paprika for a blue cheese dressing. This stuff is pimentón de la vera paprika, which is just smoked sweet paprika. It has a little bit more depth than like Hungarian or something, where it's gonna be used a little bit more for a flavoring component. Heavy black pepper, just because you kind of want to, you know, combat the bitterness of the cabbage. So I would add as much as possible. A little bit of salt, which I'm gonna reach at a camera for. So I'm doing about a tablespoon. You can do a measuring spoon, or you can just get them tattooed on your hand. Saves you a lot of time. You don't have to clean it up. All right, so we got some nice looking blue cheese dressing. Let's taste it. It's good. Needs a little bit more pepper. So season again, whisk again. And so you're basically not double dipping your mouth into it. Let's take a second spoon, pour a little bit on the one you tasted. All right, we're good to go. All right, so we've prepped everything out for our wedge salad. We're now gonna plate up. Everything's in front of us. Only thing we haven't seen before is the bacon that's now rendered. One thing I did do is I put a paper towel underneath the bacon so it can kind of soak up any excess grease that I'm not able to pull out when I'm taking it out of the pan. Also, we want to save as much of that as possible because it's delicious. Why not cooking it? So what we're gonna do is we got our dressing, we got a plate. First thing I'm gonna do is put just a tiny bit of the dressing on the plate. And the reason for this is not to make it look pretty or anything like that, but it's gonna help the pieces stick to the plate. And so when you're bringing it over to the dinner table and you just spend all this time making an awesome recipe, making it look really sexy, and then you trip, sneeze, whatever, all of a sudden everything slides to the right. Looks kind of weird. Maybe it's avant-garde, but let's save it. So we got our chunks of, you know, the cabbage that we used from before. I broke one down a little bit more just to show some sort of contrast that you can do with different sizes. So as you can see, sticking, it's building a little base. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the rest of our dressing and just pour it right on top so that it's covered. Get a little bit for everything you do. All right. And then basically we're just taking the rest of the ingredients, putting it on top. You wanna do it in a way where you build everything up so that you see a contrast in colors, because you eat with your eyes first and it's just gonna look a lot better that way. So for blue cheese dressing, we're gonna take a couple of our onions, kind of throw that on. Same deal as with the seasoning before, higher you go, the more it's gonna spread out. We're trying to make this look tight and compact, so I'm just gonna plate a little bit closer. So we got that. We got some blue cheese chunks. You can just break it up a little bit more. Really, it's just you want the dressing to stick out and you want to have some sort of distribution of everything so that you don't have one bite of just all blue cheese. All right, so then we got our tomatoes, which are gonna go on. We sliced all these guys. So as you can see, like, you know, we have the lighter stuff underneath and we got these reds and yellows and oranges. And that is basically just, you know, giving us that nice, beautiful contrast. A couple of these guys, and then let's see, let's add our bacon. And then we got a little bit of fried garlic on top as well. This is something you can pick up at like any, you know, Asian market. I'm sure some specialty stores have it. I like going just, you know, the big Chinese grocery store. You can get it in bulk. It's awesome. Also, it's a good substitution if you just want to like doing a recipe where you're garnishing with breadcrumbs, because it'll still keep it gluten-free. And other than that, that's done. And then we're just gonna take a little towel, kind of wipe a rim, clean up our work a little bit, and we're good to go.
All right, so I'm super excited to try this. Thank you, Eric, for putting this together. It looks so good, and it looks like we have some good protein in here, some good healthy fats, which are gonna keep us energized. So let's give this a try. That is seriously so good. The bacon is perfectly crisp. The dressing is amazing. You have to try this recipe. So make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our daily videos. If you're ever in Portland, make sure you check out MF Tasty Food Cart. We'll put a link below so you can check out more information about it. So thank you again, Eric, for joining us today, and we will see you tomorrow.